Shondell calling a timeout for Ball State because those New Mexico Lobos have an 11-8 lead and a 1-0 lead here inside John Worthen Arena in Muncie, Indiana. New Mexico and Albuquerque, really good volleyball community and has become more and more of one over the years, really helping build up that program. As Ashley Kelsey uses her friend the nets to drop one over.
Yes, and that wasn't allowed a while ago. You used to not be able to hit the net on your serve. And probably a few years ago, they allowed those net clips. And it kind of, you can use it to your advantage, but as a receiving team, it can make it difficult to receive.
Kelsey's a great story for New Mexico as the Cardinals go back to the slide play, and it works again for Kelly Hopkins.
We've seen the slide work for the Cardinals over and over again. That's something that I would keep using to my advantage playing against the Lobos. They've had a hard time defending that play.
Oh, the block was there.
They're there, but they're not getting touches on it. It's one of the only plays that Ball State is scoring on.
So the serve from Marissa Hine back the other way. And a tough set still gets over, and sometimes the breaks fall your way. Sky Gillette with the, all right, I'll take that nod.
She had some hang time on that too. The ball was a little bit high, and you saw our hitters were probably already, or our blockers were already hitting the ground by the time that she had tipped it.
It's one of those moments where, hey, I got a kill, but I hope nobody saw that.
A point is a point. There's the slide again. It has worked over and over again.
All right, let's talk about that for a second right now. If you're New Mexico, what do you do? Because it's the same thing coming at you time and time again. The volleyball layup just thrown at you.
Well, we've seen that Ball State has gone with the middle every single time, and it's one of the quicker plays. I would commit on her as that ball's being passed, and I would take, all it takes is one stuff block for that hitter to start questioning what she's doing at the net, and that's what they need to do, is just commit a little bit more on Ball State's middles. Johnson
Johnson setting house, then rejected by Hopkins. Now it's the freshman Brooklyn Goodsell back in for Ball State. And Hine just couldn't get underneath it. So Cassie House puts her team back on the board. It's a nice high set too for Julia Warren. Another slide. Nearly tooled the block to the other end of the court and then gets a block.
Yeah, and it's even if you don't get a kill on an attack, you can still get those players out of system and sets you up for a great block as the defending team because you already know where that ball's going.
Hopkins goes out. Carly Capello comes back in to serve. Freshman for Ball State out of the region, they call it here in Indiana, up by Chicago, and finds the net. So Hopkins will come back in, and then Hopkins will go back out, and Vasilakis will come in the libero. Jeff Nelson talking with Gillette. Who had a tough couple of goes, couple points in a row there. And Pacheco on the service. Goodsell rides the net for the kill.
That's a good cut by Goodsell, though. You saw the play was out of system. The Lobos middle attacker had already committed to the outside. She uses that cut shot to get that ball around the block, which is what we talked about. You can't go through the Lobos block. They're just too good.
How do you cut it?
You get on the side of that ball, you reach towards the side, get that palm facing towards the outside. It's probably one of the tougher shots as an outside. A line shot's a lot easier. It's more of a cross-body attack, but Goodsell does a good job. As you saw, it rolled a little bit across the net, but a good attacker is going to get some power on that away shot, as we call it.
Simone Henderson, the kill for New Mexico. It's interesting because New Mexico has led virtually wire to wire tonight. Had that little stumble at the start of this second set, but Ball State has never gone away. And the slide for Holland is in the net. Let's go back to Cassie House on the back line. All conference in the Mountain West last year. 2.5 kills a set. Goodsell caught it and then cut it.
That's that cut shot again. It's not a great pass. It's one of the only options she had. That ball was a little wide, and honestly, it was a shot that any player is going to make, and I think the Lobos should have been there to get that.
It almost looked like she mishit it, but it turns out that that's what she wanted to do.
Right, but it was probably one of her only options. That ball was probably towards the left side, and she's a right-handed hitter. It was really her only option.
Gonna mop up the floor again. Charlie Cardinal at midcourt has been flying through the rain.
Never liked when we had to waste time to wipe the floor, especially if you're the serving team.
They've got the Jeopardy music going here in the arena as well, which if you're Hannah Johnson, you want to make sure for safety reasons you've got the court cleaned up, but it never makes you feel great about the fact that you feel like they're making everybody wait for you.
Right, but if I'm the Lobos, I'm taking extra time. That way, the Ball State team has to wait and sit and think about that serve, hopefully causing an error.
There's one popped up and nicely saved by Spadafora. Johnson goes out, and Warren finds Bailey Balmer in the back row. Julia Warren, we keep talking about her being the libero of the year in the Mountain West last year. This is why she is no longer the libero. Just too good an offensive option for Jeff Nelson.
And she really generates so much excitement. You can see how excited she gets when she scores a point, and that really helps the team and helps build momentum.
Overpass by Vasilakis. Johnson put it down. Setter never afraid to go after it. It's her first kill tonight. And Warren back to serve again. Last year was the first time in her life she had been a libero. And she wins libero of the year.
Probably not very bad at it then.
That's when you know you're just a good volleyball player. And Ball State will take another timeout. New Mexico's got Ball State on its heels. What is going on in Steve Shondell's mind right now as he tries to keep his team from falling down 2-0?
I think they're probably trying to figure out what hitter to go to. I don't think Hopkins is in the front row right now, and that's been their horse that they've used all match, and right now they're trying to figure out who's going to score that point for them. Goodsell's made some kills, but they haven't been that great of kills. They need to get a pass out of this timeout and put the ball away.
New Mexico victorious 25-18 in our first set here tonight. Leading 20-13 here in the second. Take a look at the personnel that Steve Shondell has. We talk about the veteran presence, and you see across your screen there, Spadafora is senior, Lindsay is sophomore, Balmer a sophomore, Vasilakis, libero is a senior. But the freshman class, we've seen a bunch of them play tonight. Goodsell and Capello and Holland. 6 freshmen in the class, top 55 nationally. You like, if you're Steve Shondell, what the youth of this program is, even though you've got such a large senior group.
Yeah, and I think you can see the potential of the future of Ball State with that class.
PrepVolleyball.com had them top 55. They rank the top 25, and then they give you 30 honorable mentions. So we don't know what number they were. You just know that they were in the mix.
And they're first class in the MAG, and I think that's all that Steve cares about.
There's Holland, one of the heralded ones. 400 kills as a high school senior, had almost 200 blocks as a high school senior from Madison, Indiana. She has gotten the most playing time here on the weekend Active Ankle Challenge of those freshmen. They have all played. So New Mexico serving 5 points from going up 2-0. And they find the libero, and then Holland tools the block.
With another slide.
And then Hopkins comes in as Holland goes out. So the Cardinals score on the slide and now bring in the slider in chief.
Right, and this is where Ball State really needs to score most of their points. If they want to win this match, they're going to keep feeding Kelly Hopkins.
Warren to Johnson, sets tight, and Sowers sends it our way. Hello, Alex Filling. Spadafora gets it over. It's a free ball, and the slide play the other way. Simone Henderson.
We talked earlier about the outside hitters on Ball State are giving Henderson way too much line. She's able to hit around that block from the outside, and that just shows they're not getting out wide enough.
It looked like Hopkins didn't close it quick enough, too, and that gave her the gap in the middle.
Right, she had multiple options, and that's something you don't want to give Henderson.
Ashley Kelsey is back to serve. We said earlier she's a really cool story and didn't get the chance to go in it as she comes out with the ace. Kelsey has had 2 ACL tears. One in 2012, another in 2013. She's a redshirt sophomore and really finally getting to play for this New Mexico program with 2 injuries that are not fun to rehab.
They're not, and they're very tough to come back from, mostly psychologically, but I'd be chomping at the bit if I were her to get back in place. So I'm sure she's happy to be out in the court right now.
Filling hits one off of Melissa Duran, who's back in, and Kelsey sends the free ball over. Spadafora on the slide. Hopkins, was it in? No.
Good idea, though. If that ball was in, probably would have gotten a kill off of it. And it's a good choice by Hopkins. She swung at almost every single slide attack, and I don't think the Lobos are ready for just a short tip shot from her.
Kelsey serves standing, no jump to that. Cardinals go back to the slide play, and this time it works. Cardinals in the very same position they were in set 1. Backs to the wall. Not a lot of chance to make mistakes here. New Mexico at 23. Cardinals got to 18 before New Mexico won set 1. What can they do in set 2?
We definitely want to see them get their serves in right now. It's extremely important with only 2 points left for the Lobos to score. We want to see a consistent game, and I just, like I said before, keep going to Kelly Hopkins.
Substitution, I don't want to say error, but miscommunication for New Mexico there as Kelsey went out and Pacheco came back in. And Marissa Hine now serves for Ball State. Back to the middle, and that's a point for New Mexico. How about Devin Sowers there? The fake out. You set Gillette out of the middle, and then Sowers runs in behind.
Yeah, it's definitely something that's all about the middle hitters tracking that ball too. And the point of that is so that the hitters have to choose who they're going to go up and block with.
So now a chance to win it. Set point. Hannah Johnson serving, back set, and the slide. Kelly Hopkins. Same old story for Ball State.
And that's a tough set to make when your setter is off the net and you're still running a quick hitter play. That's a sign of a great setter and a great relationship between your middle attacker and your setter, Spadafora.
If this match goes all night, Kelly Hopkins might leave here as Ball State's all-time leading scorer.
She's doing a good job. She's probably hitting over 700 right now, and the team percentage is right around 200.
Vasilakis with a high dig, set for Goodsell into the block. Coverage was not quite there, and New Mexico has jumped out in front as we take the break. 2 sets to nothing. 25-18 and 25-16 for the New Mexico Lobos. 1 set from Jeff Nelson's 400th career win.